Alright, what we're doing is we are fixing a door. Now, we had our foundation repaired in our house. I want to show everybody this because I'm going to show you this as well. You can see where I sanded that door down, and I used a belt sander to do that, and I'm going to show you that. But when our foundation was bad, alright, what it did is it cracked out this door jamb because it made the whole door jamb shift, and that's a common problem when you have your foundation repaired down here in the state of Texas. And to fix that, what I had to do is, did we already throw the piece of wood away?
It's in the trash can.
Okay, so what we did is come on over here. Now I did have to readjust this door to close, and you can see now it closes really well. And by doing that, I sanded the bottom of this door down. And the way that I found out how much I had to sand, if Minnie could come inside here, is I went ahead and shut the door to the jamb, because remember, it would not close. And then what I did is I took a pencil. I don't even know where my pencil is. Here it is right here. Okay, so we took a pencil, and then once we shut the door, I went ahead and ran my pencil up the door itself, keeping the flat part of the pencil on the door. And then that told me how much I had to sand off and how high I had to go. Once we did that, we found out that our striker plate, from the door jamb moving like this, from the foundation settling, we found out that the striker plate was too low, so we had to raise that up approximately 1/4 of an inch. When we got to that situation, we went ahead and closed the door. And when we closed the door, we noticed that it was hitting up on the top here. And then what had happened is a piece of the door frame itself, it actually cracked and broke out. Now what I've done is I took my utility knife and I cut this out. Okay, I cut this little piece out, and you can see where somebody tried to caulk that in to hide the separation of the trim, and then they brought it in here, okay, and then it went all the way across here, and we're going to have to clean that up as well, which we'll get to that later by using painter's caulking to fill all that in. But this thing right here, this big void that we cut out of here, because it was actually hanging down, and when you close the door and it got to that point right there, it would not close because it was hitting that piece that was busted out. So what I did is I took my utility knife, I cut it out, all right, and the way that we're going to fill that back in, we're not going to use wood putty. What we are going to use is a substance called bondo, and this is what bondo is, and you can purchase that at your local corporation hardware store. It's called body filler. All right, and that's a 1-quart can that you can purchase, and it comes with your hardener. So what you want to do is you take your bondo, and then you put the equivalent hardener into your bondo mix, and then you go ahead and mix that up. And when you mix this up, you want to make sure that there's no streaks or no, what can we say, variances in colors. It's all got to be the same. Do you see right there? Mm-hmm. That's not a good mix right there. Mm-hmm. So what we got to do is make sure that all of the it's a one solid color. It's a nice even mixture. And another thing is you want to be real careful using your bondo, due to the fact that if this gets on any of your furniture or any of your fixtures or anything else, it's very hard to remove, especially after it dries. Okay, so once we mixed it out, we're going to take our stick, we'll lay it on top of our bondo can. And now what I got here is I got a plastic putty knife. Now they actually make bondo spreaders, but we're going to use an old piece of tile, and you got to work quick with this. So we're going to take a little bit of that bondo, and if Minnie can come over here, we are going to go ahead and, do you see how I'm doing that? Mm-hmm. Now another reason that we're not using wood putty, because wood putty takes a very long time to dry. But if we use our bondo and we push it into the hole, all right, do you see how I'm doing that? All right, I'm making it nice and neat. And if you do it properly, you don't even have to sand anything, and all you'll do is go straight from bondo to painting. And that's what our achievement is here, is that we want to be able to blend that all in and be able to put our paint on there and walk away from it. And then once that's done, you want to leave it alone. I'm going to go ahead and just get a smidgen more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more. One other thing you want to be careful of, and I'm used to using bondo, you want to make sure you cover your area on your floor. Like I said, you don't want this to fall on your carpet. So I'm going to push just a little bit more in that corner, and then I'm going to pull back. See how I'm doing that? Push, pull. And you're feathering it out as you put it in, see? All right. Looks like we need a little bit more right in that corner, and we're just pulling it out. That's how you're going to fix that door jamb. And if we do it properly, we don't have to do no sanding, we don't have to do anything, and then Minnie the Body Shop girl can go straight into painting. So now that we're done with that, we're going to let that dry. And bondo, if mixed properly, usually takes about 10 to 12 minutes to dry. And when I say dry, I'm talking it's as hard as a rock. You then want to take the lid of your bondo, make sure that you put it on nice and tight. And once that's done, we're going to go ahead and put our hardener with it. So we'll come back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to see what happens with our door jamb, and hopefully everything is going to work out nice, and you'll never know that that door jamb was busted. Alright, so while our bondo's drying over on the door that we were just working on, let me show you what's going on with this door. Once again, we did have the foundation repaired. Now, what we're talking about when it comes to foundation, we're talking about in the state of Texas, especially North Texas, a lot of the dirt here is really not dirt, it's clay. So what happens is when the ground gets wet and then it dries and then gets wet and then you get cold and heat and all that, what happens, your house starts moving around. It's very, very common. Every house in the state of Texas pretty much has it. I'm sorry, in the state of North Texas. And it's just part of owning a house out here. So what we did is, once again, we had our foundation repaired, and if you look right here on this door, you can see where it's been rubbing up here. All right, and then also on this door jamb right here, it looks like it's been hitting right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the door off, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. Very simple and easy. We're going to close our door just like that, and it looks like we're going to have to take just a little bit off the whole top of the door. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
All right.
At least 3/4 to.
Right. So we're going to take our pencil, and I'm not going to hold it straight like this, because look what happens. It's going to show us that we need to take that much off, and that's it here. We're not doing that. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to hold it at an angle, and it looks like we're going to be able to take off. We're going to probably take off approximately 1/8 of an inch off the top of that door. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is to remove your door. What you're going to need a hammer and a screwdriver. And what you got here is your door hinges. Alright, we're going to go ahead and remove the lower door hinge first, because that way if we take the top one off first and then do the lower one, what happens is the weight of the door will swing and will ruin our bottom hinge. So always remove your lower hinge first, and if you have 3 hinges, remove the middle one and then the top one last. So we're going to take a flat screwdriver, we're going to hit it right on that pin, and as you see, alright, just by a nice easy tap, the pin will come out very easily. We're going to go ahead and set our pin right there so we don't lose it. Then we're going to come up here and repeat our process, just like that. And we haven't moved the door at all. And you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what happened when I took that top hinge out?
Yeah.
If we would have done the top hinge first, it would have bent our hinge down here, and then we would have had to have problems. We're going to leave our hinge pins there. We'll go ahead and leave that there. And then let's get our door outside so I can show you the right way to trim the top of the door. Okay, what you want to do once you get your door outside in a nice breathable condition, because you definitely don't want to do this in the house, we'll go ahead and set your door down on a nice sturdy set of what, Minnie? Sawhorses?
Sawhorses, yeah.
Or something applicable to the same situation. This is where we got to take it off on the top of the door. So what we're going to do to remove the excess top of the door there is we're going to use a belt sander. Now belt sanders are very easy to use, and I'm going to go ahead and put a brand new piece of sandpaper on this belt sander, if I can get it open. So what you're looking at here, this is a belt sanding disc, okay? This is what goes onto the belt sander. What you want to use is you want to use a piece of 80 grit. That's the most coarsest piece of sandpaper that you want to use on your doors, due to the fact that if you use anything coarser, it could rip the outer skins of your doors. There we go. Lock it down. And then we're going to go ahead and take our adjuster, and what this is going to do, this is going to level the sandpaper out to where we want it to be on our belt sander. Alright, we are now ready to go ahead and sand the top of our door. Alright, we have now sanded the top of our door. What we're going to do now is we're going to clean it off. And I will say this, painting is required when doing this. Touch-up painting is required, so if you don't have any touch-up paint, be prepared, you're going to have to buy some. What I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of 80 grit, or this is 100 grit sandpaper, and all I'm doing with it is I'm just cleaning the edges off. If I can get the sandpaper, here we go. I'm just cleaning all the frayed edges off. And I don't know if this is going to work right off the bat. It usually doesn't. It takes 2 or 3 tries to get it right. So,
because remember, you can't put back on if you take off too much.
There you go. It's better to take a little bit off at a time and just test fit it until it works properly. You don't want to take too much off because you really don't have that much to take off. All we're doing is getting it to where the door opens and closes. That's it. All right, let's go and try our door and see if we got lucky, and hopefully it'll open and close. All right, let's get our door stood up in place, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab 1 hinge pin, 2 hinge pins, and when we put the door back together, you want to go in reverse. You want to put the top hinge pin in first and then the lower hinge pin. Remember, the door is always going to tip out this way. So you're going to grab the door up here, then you're going to grab your doorknob, and you're going to slide it in. As you're holding it in place, you take your pin and you slide it in there. Now, if we would have done the bottom one first, we would have had a heck of time trying to balance it and get everything going. We're going to come down here, lightly get it in place. And now, let's check it out and see if the top of our door rubs. Yes, it does. Alright, if Minnie can get an angle up here, you can see it's not rubbing in this area anymore. It's rubbing, it looks like it's right in the middle there. From here, probably over to here, am I right?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Let's take a look on the outside and see what we're looking at. Okay, look what we got. It starts right here, see there? Now we were way back here, and you can see light through here. See where you see light? So that means right from here, possibly right in this area here, over. Get my pencil. We got to take just a little bit more off from right here over to here, see? So we'll go outside and we'll trim some more down. Actually, if you can look up there, can you see that light coming through?
Yeah, you're not going to mark it
No.
with your pencil?
Well, you can't really mark it because the jam's in the way, so you got to kind of eyeball it. Okay. How many times it's going to take, we don't know. But however many times it takes is how many times we're going to do it. All right. You can see that we went ahead and sanded it. We're going to go ahead and mount the door on the jamb, and hopefully we got it this time. Let's see what happens. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. And there you go. Door fits perfect. Here's what we got to do to this one. If many can look at that striker, okay, you can see on this one here, the striker's a little bit low. All right, let's look at it on the outside here. Okay, you can see the striker is pretty low. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our screw gun, we're going to remove our screws out of our jamb, and then I want you to show you this striker. Do you see that lip right there? Mm-hmm. Okay, what we're going to do, because we got to raise this up, we're going to take our utility knife and we're going to go ahead and dig that out using our utility knife. Very careful. You want to keep your fingers out of the way with your utility knife. That can be a very dangerous situation right there. I've seen people cut their thumbs off, believe it or not, using a utility knife the wrong way. So utility knives are a very dangerous tool, so if you aren't prepared to use it, don't. And then what that's going to do is that's going to let us raise this up to the position that we need. And you just got to keep digging it out using your utility knife to get in there and dig it out. Because when the Texas floods hit your home, you know your foundation is bad. So we're going to raise that up, leaving it on the line right here. We're just going to raise it up, see? I'm going to go up approximately 1/4 inch. I'm going to take my screw gun with my screw on it. I'm going to raise it up so it's on the same plane. And you can kind of basically see, I got to cut some more out. It's not going in properly. We want that thing to be just like it was. This is how you want to do it. This is DIY. This is the DIY lesson of the day. Right here at DIY Auto School, Automobiles and More. Because there's a lot of people out there that are paying people to do this. Do you believe that? They're paying big bucks to do this, when all they got to do is do it at home and do it by yourself. What we've done is we relocated our latch because remember what I was telling you, the foundation has shifted. When your foundation shifts like that, a lot of your door jambs are going to shift with it. So we went ahead and did that. I don't think we should trim any of this out. I think we're going to be okay, but if you had to bring that latch up higher, you would take your utility knife with a new blade and you just go ahead and clean that area out. I think we're okay like it is, and we're just going to leave it like it is, and we'll clean this out. There we go. I say we go check out our bondo and see how that's going.
All right.
Can you smell the bondo in here? Does it smell like a body shop?
It
Before
does.
we mess with our jam, we don't want to touch that. I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to show you. See how hard that is? Look at that. Okay. This doesn't clean off like a bondo spreader, Minnie. You should have told me that.
Different
Here
kind.
it is. Here it is. And that's why you want to use a plastic spreader, because your old bondo will come off. So our bondo is dry. All right, and you can see what the difference is between wood putty and this. If we would have put wood putty up there, we would have had to wait overnight. Am I right, Minnie?
Yeah, it's pretty slow.
So come on over here. You can see that that's filled in. Let's go ahead and shut the door. Make sure nothing's sitting on it. Is that my latch hitting, or is it the door up there?
I think it's the latch.
I think the latch is hitting right here. I mean the door. Let me go get some sandpaper. I'm going to show you how to clean this up in about 10 seconds, and we'll be done with it. Minnie, the body shop girl, does her touch-up paint, and bam, we're done.
We're done. Being a homeowner, it's a constant state of repair and maintenance. So these little tips and tricks can probably help you out and save you some money in the long run if you do it yourself.
All right, what I got here, I got me a piece of 100 grit. We're going to go ahead and hand sand that up there. Minnie's going to have to get the vacuum cleaner out and clean her up, but I don't think she's going to be bothered by that, right?
No, whatever it takes.
So what we're going to do now, normally you would use a grit called 36, and that would break it down real quick, and then you go back over it with 80 grit. But this is just a minor repair, so we're going to take our 100, and then we're going to sand that down, just like that, to feather it in. Okay, you see how I'm feathering that in? And you can see where it's sanded really, really nice. Let's see what happens now. Look at that. Are we still rubbing a bit? Okay, we're rubbing right there in that corner.
I think it's the lip.
I think it's right here. Let me go ahead and sand that down. Okay, you see where it's hitting? You can see right here. Look where my finger is.
Yeah.
You see that right there? So what we'll do is we'll just take a little corner piece, sand that down, just like that. All right. Let's see. All right, to finish this job out, what I'll do is I'll take my belt sander. I'm going to clean this edge up just a little bit right here, and then we're going to rehang that door because it's catching right here. Hear that?
Yeah, splitting the door.
Yes, we don't want the door to split. So I'm going to take that door out there. I'm going to sand this edge down right here.
Just a little bit more.
I don't think we didn't do the top of this door.
Oh, no, we didn't.
We did it down here, remember?
Yeah.
All right. All right, there you go. Now, we did have a problem if you look at the door right there. I went ahead and sanded that down. It looked like the door was frayed from rubbing so many times. So I went ahead and cleaned those edges up as well using our belt sander. Make sure that hinge is in good. And now we're going to go ahead and try it out, see what happens. Maybe.
What?
How's that?
Good.
We got one little problem with this striker. The edge of that striker is sticking out. I'm going to see if I can tap that in. Just like that, nice and easy. Alright, now we should. There you go. And that is how it should fit, right there. See that?
Yep.
Okay. So, what we've done is we've basically showed you how to fix your doors the proper way. You need a belt sander, that's your number one tool. You need a screwdriver, a hammer, possibly some bondo to fix your jams. You can see how nice that came out. It was only, what, 15 minutes? Done deal. I went ahead and lightly sanded that. And we now have a door that works perfect. Minnie, the body shop girl, come back. She's going to go ahead and paint around the edges, clean this door up. And I think it's a done situation on the doors in this house that had foundation problems. This is Pete over at DIY Auto School. If you like this video and you learned something from it, make sure to subscribe to this channel and watch more of my videos. I appreciate your support and have a great day.
Bye.
You got anything to say?
Hit subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're wearing your DIY Auto School shirt today. There you go. And that's where we're moving.
Do it yourself, guys.
Right there.